All right, I'm back. So, as I was saying, I wanted to have this song done by Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. Um, so, I just thought I'd run through the song real quick. I do have the final version. I would still like to play with the, I guess, mastering of it eventually, but everything's pretty much there, and the mix isn't perfect, but I feel like overall I'm happy with it for now, and maybe I'll do some variation later on, but like I said, I wanted to make good on getting this done and be happy with it. So I'm pretty happy with it. So anyway, yeah, so I figured I'd just kind of run through. So there's the overall system. I am pretty excited because I'm running a 800 megahertz or 866 megahertz Quicksilver Mac with OS 9, but I actually have one of the Mirador Macs that are at 1.24 gigahertz, 25 gigahertz, and basically it's the fastest Mac they made that would still run OS 9 natively. So I'm excited to have the extra headroom because I definitely was kind of pushing the limits of what the CPU could handle before it just became really difficult to work with. I mean, the audio playback was fine, and I'm sure I could probably even add more tracks before there be any actual audible problems, but the interface itself just becomes kind of bogged down and glitchy and slow responsive in its draw time. So yeah, I'd like to kind of bump that up a bit, and I'm curious now that I've had a chance to really push the limits of this system to see how much faster the 1.25 really is as opposed to it being maybe, marginally better. So anyway, all right, so yeah, so I just hit play. So that's the basic setup of there's just the loops. Obviously I control the presence of everything through automation. I just sort of script everything to sort of fade in at different times. This section is essentially the Pinion guitars. Let's see, what was this stuff over here? So this is the K3, a couple of versions of K3. The blue here is the Explosion. No, the orange is the drums. And the green are some little vocal things I threw in there. I took the sample from vocals only of Nine Inch Nails and threw that in there. So yeah. So this is the bass line. Actually, I think that's what that was, right? So anyway, moving right along. Yeah, that's right. That's the bass guitar. So if we hit play here, you can kind of go through it. So this is the sort of zoom effect. This fella right here, still going strong. And you can see the storm kind of comes in, and then of course the Pinion guitars are coming in there as well. And I'm going to put the song either on just a direct link, or maybe I'll make a YouTube, track that'll just be like the audio only. I'll probably end up going that route. Just want to play with it a little bit more. I need to listen to it in my car too to see if it's bass and stuff is coming through. I don't really always have a great register of how good bass sounds from these particular monitors, which are, they're all right. They're good. Okay, so the bass guitar is going now, and getting the bass right, like the EQ levels and stuff, is always I'm still getting better at gauging how full the sound is versus it feeling overly saturated. We'll see how it sounds. And then sort of drop that off there, and now we're just basically working on the drum build-up. I was going to try and do the drums over again, but I just didn't really have the time, and I was pretty happy with what they sound like, even though they're coming from the Nitro kit rather than a vintage drum machine of some kind. So I just put so I recorded myself saying that I want to put the blame on you, and I put a heavy ring modulator on it. And then This Isn't Meant to Last is actually from the Nine Inch Nails song. I just sort of slowed it down and threw more ring modulation on it. You can hear the guitars coming back in. You can hear the K3. Just take it over to here. And that's the Akai 6S12 or S612. Goes on for a little bit, and then essentially starts to fade out. EQ is going on right here as well. So I did use some plugins, but I figure, hey, you know what? 20-year-old digital plugins are vintage enough at this point. I could have done this stuff with hardware, but I just didn't have the time, honestly, at this point. But I do look forward to getting better using hardware in my mixes and such. But you can kind of see where the frame rates are kind of struggling a little bit. The jitteriness of the EQ is not as smooth as it should be. So that's the kind of stuff that at this point, and just redraw at times, like if you want to just move things around, can be a bit of a drag. So the song sort of winds down from there, sort of fade things out. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's basically the way the song plays out and so forth. So yeah, if anyone has any questions or anything about what I was using or doing or anything, obviously I'm happy to offer any advice. I still have tons to learn, and I am anything but pro at this stuff. So, but it's been fun to really tinker around with this project. And so yeah. So again, thanks for all the comments, and hope everyone enjoyed watching the other videos, even though like this one I kind of meander on. So anyway, all right. So take care. Thanks so much. See you on the next thing I do, which I'm not sure yet, but we'll figure it out.